podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
BoxingVoice.com. All the guys want, I want what Mayweather got. I want what Mayweather got. You done bust your ass like Mayweather. I was trying to fight every fighter. I sacrificed a lot.
Dazn Productions.
To get to where I got to.
What do you bring to the table?
Let's get this on. Let's do it. Well, it's like this. Wait.
All right, that's it. Hold on. Bernard, everybody calm down.
Man, you know how these bitches is in the sport. Total disrespect. Kid has no class, no style at all. I sacrificed a lot. BoxingVoice.com. To get to where I got to. BoxingVoice.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of the Boxing Voice Radio. We will be bringing you another elite level interview as we will be having Trainer of the Year, WBC Trainer Belt winner, Ken Porter. And right now circling in the news is three mans in the running for the Manny Pacquiao fight: Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, and Mikey Garcia. So why not get one of those parties on the show to talk a little boxing with us? None other than Ken Porter, the trainer and manager of Shawn Porter, and see if we can't get maybe a small direction in which way the Porters are going and what's next for them. But yeah, this is what we'll be talking about. Welterweight division, Ken Porter. We will be asking him multiple questions, but remember, you can ask him your own question if you head on over to patreon.com/The Boxing Voice and drop your question right there on our Patreon page. Ask Ken Porter a question. This way, you don't have to say that we're not doing a good enough job, because we're allowing you to do an even better job than us by asking those hard-hitting questions only you know how to ask. I'm going to head on out to Indiana, Gross the Boss.
I speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. I can't say it enough. I speak it, believe it.
Window stamp, 2 attempts, handed bands over. Sicko hit, shot and miss, 2 to stand over.
Turn up.
Breadwinner, huh? Look who in the building. Let me check my Instagram. I might be at 1 million.
And I'm in.
BoxingVoice.com.
Yo, what up, and welcome back to another edition of the Boxing Voice, and shout out to everybody out there in the TBV universe. Back with another one, man. Ken Porter, trainer, father of one of the top welterweights in the division, Shawn Porter. Got a couple questions for him, you know what I'm saying? Want to get his thoughts on Wilder, want to get his thoughts on AJ Ruiz, want to get his thoughts on a couple things and on the horizon for PBC. And yeah, man, what's going on, Ness?
Nothing much, bro. Just back with another one, man. Trying to keep the ball rolling, keep it moving, keep working. You already know. Keep bringing hard-hitting interviews. So we will be getting him in a couple of minutes. We just hit him up. He asked for about another 5. So yeah, man. Patreon.com/The Boxing Voice. Ask Ken Porter a question yourself. Don't wait for us to hit him with the question that's on your mind. We can't get it. Only you can. But he definitely said to call him now, so I will be doing that in a matter of minutos. Let me connect to the show. Hold me down, champ.
No problem, man. Shout out to everybody out there in the chat, man. Everybody for joining. If you can, take a moment out, smash that thumbs up button, man. We stay trying to give you guys exclusive content, great content. We had Rick Glazer on this morning. We had some of everybody on this week. Mauricio Suleiman last week. And it's just going to keep on getting better and better, man. If you guys want these hard-hitting interviews and this content, you got to tell a friend and smash that thumbs up button. We do appreciate it. Shout out to Big Nick. Shout out to Ruin the 504. Shout out to that one white boy, Kieran Betts. Shout out to Pug Lil Ism. Whatever the fuck that means. Shout out to Casual Bass Boy, man. Shout out to you, man. You've been following me on my own channel, so I appreciate that. But no further ado, we got Ness and we got who?
Ken Porter, world-renowned trainer, WBC Green Belt Trainer of the Year also. So, Ken, I just want to thank you first and foremost for coming on the program and taking out the time to allow us to interview you. I know you guys are always busy. But yeah, obviously in the news circulating there's a 3-man list for Manny Pacquiao. His manager, Sean Gibson, mentioned Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia. And from social media, seems like your son, Shawn Porter, is in the gym. So I guess happy holidays. How was Thanksgiving? And how are you?
Thanks for the intro. I'm doing very well. I just finished working on myself because I didn't feel good after last night the way I went to bed. So I just finished the workout. I'm headed to meet Sean, and I got a young kid that's going to the Olympic trial, Siobhan Davis, at 178. I'm going to meet those guys to do a workout in the gym here, probably in the next 30 minutes. We'll be meeting up. So everything's good on our end. I know that you guys have heard that, but I haven't. I haven't read it or seen it anywhere. If you can forward it to me, I'd love to take a look at it. It's good to hear our name being mentioned.
Definitely. Let me introduce you, obviously, to Michael Gross. Mike.
How's it going, Mr. Porter? Hopefully you had a good holiday. My first question is, I know Sean is back in the gym. I know Sean is back in the gym training. Who necessarily is Sean looking at as a potential opponent?
You know what, brother? There's no one that we're looking at in specific order. The way that boxing is set up is not set up, if that makes sense to you. Things are not what we expect, or they don't go the way they should go, or there's never a playoff system, or, things just don't make sense. So what we do before a fight is obviously, a training camp. What we do after a fight, which is what Sean did right after the fight, is what we call the after-fight camp. The first few days after a fight, he does a lot of recovery. Salt bath, sauna, a lot of stretching, yoga, that type of thing. After 2 days, a cold bath, the cold tubs as well. After 2 days of the Errol Spence fight, Sean said, "Hey, I feel good. I feel fine. It's not necessary for me to keep doing this." So a week after the fight, he was back into training, not boxing, just a cross training. And then 2 weeks after the fight, he was back into boxing training, and he's been doing that. Of course, he picked up some weight because of the holiday, and I backed off and let him do that. But, he'll be back working today. Just for anyone that they call us about, it's like I said, it's great to have our name mentioned with a Manny Pacquiao. But it's a long way between the lip to the cup to make something like that happen. So, right now, we're just staying in shape so that when we do get a call, and hopefully a date that would be like maybe March, we'll be ready for that.
How important is that recovery process, and how long have you guys been doing it at the fights? And if it is very effective, what have you seen it translate to in and out of the ring?
It's very important, and I'm not going to say that I invented this, but I would definitely tell you that I haven't met anyone else that does it. And I'm not just talking about the recovery, the physical part of the body. I'm talking about the mental and emotional and the spiritual aspects of the boxer as well. So to give you the prime perfect example, that third day that I called Sean to say, "Hey, come on, let's go do some recovery," he was at church that morning. That's the spiritual recovery that he needed to deal with the result of the fight. Whereas other people go out, and this is when the boxers become their most vulnerable after a fight. They win the fight. They got all the fans. They got all the fanfare. They got money. You know, everything is accessible. There's no doors that are closed to them. Nobody says no. Not a friend, not a buddy, not a girlfriend. You know, family members. Everyone is allowing them to do anything they want to do. And so it's very, very important when they're their most vulnerable right there that you've got someone that they believe in, trust in, and will listen to. So over the course of Shawn's career, this has been implemented so many times that this fight, I never had to even have a conversation with him about going to a club and I never really have before, but it's something that's been implemented, and it's like a muscle memory for him. And he gave it up to God. He went, and spent a lot of time with his pastor and people, that are involved in the church. Of course, he spent a lot of time with me in the mornings doing recovery. But it's very important because these are the times that the guys are the most vulnerable. When they got everything that they want and everybody is allowing them to do anything that they want to do. And you've seen how those results can become a negative situation. Guys, start to party too much. Guys, hanging out too much, too many girls, too many situations. Guys get arrested, different things like that, And so we don't have that, and we haven't had that. We've never had that. And, it's working out really good for us. And, of course, you want to stay on top of them with their weight because, again, they're their most vulnerable. Everybody's feeding them. Everybody's hanging out. Everybody's doing whatever they want to do. And there are no, stop signs, no do not disturb, no do not enter. They're allowed to do just about anything they want to do.
Gotcha. Were you able to see the Deontay Wilder versus Ortiz fight this weekend? And if you were, what do you make of people saying that Wilder should start off a little bit faster because he'd be giving up too many rounds in certain fights?
Well, I was up close and personal. I was right there behind his corner, actually. Mike Tyson was in front of me, and then I was in the seat number 2. So I was right there, and I did see it. He had me worried because I felt that he was down on rounds. And I don't even know if you want to call it a slow start. It just appeared to me that he was waiting for his right moment, but I wasn't comfortable with it. I was rooting for him, and I wanted to see him, do well that night. So, as I was counting rounds, he was definitely down quite a few rounds going into the round where he got the knockout. In my estimation, and I even looked over to the person that was with me at the fight and said to them, I wonder what they're telling him in the corner, because they got to tell him, they got to, tell him that he's down. He's not, he's not up on these scorecards. He can't be, just from inactivity.
Sir, I would agree. Now, we had a poll last week where it was like the only person in the heavyweight division that could really get Wilder a chance was Fury. Now, I'm of that belief, but I think Wilder is, like, his power is just freakish. Do you think there's any other heavyweight out there other than Fury that can really give Wilder a run for his money?
I think the other one that could give him a run was the one he was in the ring with. I know that Fury poses a lot of different problems because of his style, also because of his activity. He's much more active than Deontay is, or than Deontay just showed in that fight. Deontay has some unbelievable power, and I've known this kid since he was in the amateurs. He was on a National Golden Glove Championship podium with Shawn. They were National Golden Glove champions together in 2007. And I just keep looking back in my mind over his career. I keep looking back in my mind, visualizing when he was at the Olympic Training Center for the 2008 Olympic team. He was at the cruiserweight division then, which, you know, we call it 201, and then in the amateurs there's 201 plus. So he wasn't at the 201 plus. We had a kid by the name of Mike Hunter at 201 plus. And I just keep going back over my mind, like, when did this power come in? You know, I saw him winning fights, and I saw him winning fights, you know, and I thought it was because of his size, but not necessarily because of the power early on in the amateur career. And he doesn't have a long list of fights in the amateurs. So now in the pros, and I'm watching what he does when he knocks a guy out, and it's just, there's nobody that can take his power. I don't see anyone that can stand up to it. I was also saying just before the knockout came that in order for Ortiz to last, just before it came, after that round, just before the knockout, I was saying in order for him to last through this, he's going to have to become very, very careful on defense right now. He's going to have to become a defensive fighter and rely on his defense instead of his offense. And just as I was saying, that boom, he gets knocked out cold. So I don't think there's anyone in the heavyweight division, if they get caught clean with Deontay, that 99.9 guys are going to get knocked out. No. 90.99 guys are going to get knocked out. There's nobody can stand up to his power. No.
We had a story come out a couple weeks ago about the since Shawn fights in the WBC, that's why I'm bringing it up. We had a story that came out a couple weeks ago stating that the WBC has adopted WADA's increased allowance of clenbuterol. What was your reaction when you first heard that news?
Man, I'm missing all this news. Can you guys send me that one as well?
Yes,
they're going to allow a guy.
If you send me your email, because I got that straight from WBC's email list, so I could forward it to you.
So you're telling me they're going to allow a guy to increase the use of a banned substance?
No. So WADA has already increased the threshold. Meaning, hypothetically, if it was 0.2 that was allotted before you could test positive, hypothetically it's 0.5 now, and WBC adapted what WADA had already been doing because, you know, they claim that WADA did their tests, and because of the raised clenbuterol in the meat, they raised the threshold.
So my silence should speak volumes to you guys. I'm not in agreement with anything that is not natural. I'm just not in agreement. I don't drink or smoke. So, you know, the rest of that, you know, anything more than your basic vitamins, and I understand the protein drinks and things like that, but anything that is supposed to be banned or anything that is supposed to be a certain level and you can't go over it, I'm not in agreement with. So yeah, I definitely would like to see that email. And you know, for us, we're on a random. They take it as many times as they want. You know, the Garcia fight, they probably took 8 drug tests for Shawn for the Danny Garcia fight. And this last fight right here, we probably got at least 4. So, you know, we're on the volunteer list for a reason, and, you know, I would like to see, they need to have a uniform rule and not change things to, you know, help boxing or help, you know, increase the popularity with whatever they come up with that they feel is necessary. You know, if it's a rule, they need to abide by it, stick by it, and everybody needs that.
Last question before I pass you back to Ness. We had Mauricio Suleiman on the show maybe last week, and he stated that Vasily Lomachenko and Canelo both petitioned for them to be WBC franchise champion. What do you make of fighters petitioning the WBC for that and not fighting their number one contender when they do the necessary things to put themselves in that position?
I think, first of all, they need to define in writing exactly what a franchise champion is, how they came about the position of a franchise champion, how these two guys, which would be the third question I'd have, how these two guys were picked randomly over everybody else in professional boxing, however many champions you have, and then make make it aware to everyone in boxing exactly what's going on. Don't make these kind of decisions in the back room and then just spring them on people and expect everybody to say, "Oh, well, that's okay, that's fine, that's fine," because I'm not in agreement with it. For that matter, let's speak on. You say Lomachenko is a franchise champion and Canelo is a franchise champion, and then you take a look at a situation where you just brought that out with no warning at all. You take a look at a situation like an Errol Spence, and we can't get a progress report on the health. These things should be transparent all the way across the board. We can't get any type of decision made on his championship, but you can give these guys a franchise championship. So it's not, it's very vague. It's a fine line between right and wrong, and it just appears that, most of the time, it's whatever way is best for them is the direction they go, and that's not what's best for the people that are boxing, not best for the fighters, not best for the sport, but it's best for the business.
Now, Ken, it's funny you bring up Earl because a few hours ago he posted on a social media that he'd be ready for 2020 summer, and I think he put like "I'm a beast" or something like that, right, Mike? What was the caption?
I didn't see it. I was out getting a haircut.
Oh, well, yeah. That being said, do you think that he isn't ready to defend the belt? Because you're saying we can't get a progress report and they're not doing anything with his status as if he isn't available to defend.
And take in mind, he just fought in September. It's only like 2 months from then.
Well, again, what I was just saying, and I previously said, what happens to a guy after the fight is the time that they're the most vulnerable. So he showed that he was the most vulnerable in his career and in his life in that particular decision-making that he had there. Whether or not he's going to be healthy enough to box in spring or summer or anything else, what he posts, I pretty much, me, myself, don't really follow the social media and what guys post. And, any coward can say, and I'm not referring to a boxer, but I'm just saying anybody can be a coward and get on social media and say, "Hey, I'm a beast." And then you meet this person and, they're not necessarily a beast. We know, obviously, that Errol is a beast. No, we know that because of the way he fights in the ring. But I'm saying anyone can say anything that they choose to say. A midget can get on there and say, "Hey, I had a dunk today, and it was beautiful. Nobody saw it." You're a midget. You don't dunk basketballs. We understand it. But social media gives guys wings, and they think they can fly like Red Bull or something like that. So, I don't subscribe to the social media that it's news. It's not news to me. Only thing I can understand is, you're actually showing me something that say it shows the progress of the fighter or the health of the fighter. And even in that, I would question as well. But it's neither here nor there. Whatever he says, the WBC needs to make decisions based on who's actually active and who can't fight. So not based on someone saying, hey, I think I'll post something today and I'm ready to fight in the summer.
But would you be happy? Would you be happy with the WBC stepping in, stripping Earl, and allowing, I don't know, Shawn and someone else to fight for it? Would you still feel like a champ?
No. I don't want to see Earl get stripped. That's not what I want. Not at all. Errol Spence should not be stripped, in any shape, form, or fashion. But like what I said, what I was alluding to before, if you can make franchise champions, you can make decisions based on someone's health that don't hurt them in terms of them having the title. It could be a situation where they do an interim belt, and then the winner of the interim belt gets to fight Errol Spence when he comes back because they become his mandatory. Just like they did before when we had a Keith Thurman situation and he was out too long, which, that particular situation, he was out, over a year. So the same thing can happen again. And it just so happens that Shawn is number one, Danny's number two. So that only makes sense. But beyond that, my preference, if we can get what we want in this particular situation, the guy's healthy is, make a decision based on that, give everyone involved in the weight class who would have the opportunity to fight for that title the information, and then, let things, come together from that standpoint, who should be fighting who as the number one or the number two guys to determine what's going on in that weight division. It should not be held up because somebody is out injured, and no, Errol Spence should not be stripped.
I got a couple questions from the people. This is our most loyal listeners, our patrons. We got Dominic in Seattle says, hashtag Mr. PBC, hashtag the last time I checked. Man, real talk, I would like for you, real talk, take the fight with Bud like Crawford and shut up his hype.
Just in the business of boxing, it's just not that easy. It's not. Bud's got a fight coming up with a guy by the name of I don't know his name, Green Machine. He's got that fight coming up.
Yeah, the Green Machine.
Beyond that, right. Beyond that, hey, say a guy like Errol Spence isn't healthy in 2020, and we can't get a fight with a Manny Pacquiao, then, we need to give Bud a call. And I didn't read the article again, so I'm just speculating on what I heard. Don't know that it's true, but I did hear that Bud said if he was to ever fight Shawn Porter, it would be when him and Shawn had an opportunity to discuss the fight themselves. I know that is Shawn's same mindset because I've seen actual interviews where Shawn said that. These kids have known each other. I'm calling them kids. They're young men now. They've known each other since they were 14 years old. They've hung out together, trained together, rooted each other on in tournaments. So I think they're at a point in their careers where they should be allowed to say, you know what? I want to fight this guy. I want to fight that guy. And they shouldn't be forced. But, with an Errol Spence out, Manny Pacquiao trying to make his decisions based on what he thinks is best for his career at this point, which I think he's, about at the end of his career, but he's definitely a world champion and a future Hall of Famer. Keith Thurman being out with an injury, Errol Spence being out with an injury, it only makes sense that Shawn and Bud need to give each other a phone call. They need to give each other a call.
Now, I mean, from a trainer standpoint, doesn't that fight make sense, being as though Bud started his career at 35? So for Shawn, he has an advantage, or is there no advantage? Does the weight in this particular fight not mean anything, and you see it as a 50-50 fight?
No, I never thought about that at all. I never thought about where Bud started his professional career at in comparison to where he's at now. I never thought about that at all until you just said it. It's not something that comes to my mind. I think more on Bud's skill level than I do on the size that Bud comes into the fight. So that has nothing to do with it for me. I think it's just a fan, happy, crazy, lit up fight. I think everybody would love to see that type of fight. I think that Shawn is building his career thus far on being a guy that will take that fight and take that fight against anybody that's out there and get in there and, you can flip a coin and say what you want to say if you won against Arrow or if you won against Keith or if you won against Kell Brook, a point here, a point there, depending upon who's looking at it. Everybody has an opinion, so I think it's a great fight. It's not, from a training standpoint, it's not based on his size. It's based on his skill, and he's got a high level of skill. He's a very skillful fighter, and he's been doing this a long time. Like I said, we first met him when he was 14 at the Junior Olympics. Probably even seen him at Silver Gloves before that, I don't recall. But, no, it's not based on size. It's definitely based on skill. He's definitely one of the most skillful boxers in boxing. Pound for pound, he's in my, top 5 or so.
We're going to double back to that pound for pound. I would love to hear your list.
I don't have a list.
No. We could create one on the fly, but a more interesting topic, staying within the realm of someone well, you know them both, and Bud, but also, as you like to call him, the guy up the street, Mayweather, announced a comeback right before the Deontay Wilder fight. I like to think that was just to kind of, halt Deontay Wilder a little bit. Wilder had like some comments on boxing scene that I think might have hit Mayweather's or gotten Mayweather's attention. But if he's really coming back, we seen Bud Crawford take to his social media and say, if you're coming back, why not me and you 2020? Some people seem to think that even at this age, Floyd Mayweather would be cherry picking Terrence Crawford. Is that any way possible?
He could cherry pick us. Matter of fact, I'll bring the cherry right down the street for him because I just passed his house on my way home. I would love to have that opportunity. If Bud is interested in fighting Mayweather, when Mayweather is talking about coming back, I can understand why. It's a big name and it's a big fight for Bud, and it makes sense for Bud. I don't know that it's necessarily on Floyd's behalf if he takes that type of fight. I don't think that's cherry picking. That's a hard fight. That ain't no easy out. So
where would you put it in terms of percentage? Now, I like to tell my listeners, keep in mind that, Mayweather's tune-ups was Juan Manuel Marquez. Like, he's not a regular fighter. Some people tune up, versus a tune-up, and, versus Tom Schwartz, and others tune up versus Marquez. It's different, I think. So, I don't know. It is 2 years or something like that, and it's kind of how long he usually stays out of the ring. But what percentile do you put that fight at? You're in Vegas. What would the betting odds be?
I don't know what the betting odds would be. I have no clue about that. But I'm not for one. But it's not a 50-50 fight. I don't think it's a 50-50 fight. As a matter of fact, with Floyd being out, the period of time that he's been out, I consider Bud to have an advantage here. Definitely, with his youth and his activity, he's definitely got an advantage here. So, it's not a 50-50 fight anymore. Obviously, we find out on fight night. But right now, if I had to bet, I'd go with the young man.
All right. I got a couple more questions here because I just went on my own tangent. That was Seattle. We'll get out to Omega, who says, how do you keep yourself and Shawn motivated after arguably losing two of the biggest fights in his career?
It's not as hard to motivate myself as you would think, but it is getting, it's getting to that point now where again, everybody has an opinion, whether or not we got, the decision in that last fight, I tell Errol to his face, Shawn Porter kicked your ass. You might have got a decision, but Shawn Porter kicked your ass. We can't, at this point in time, we can't sit around and we never have, but we can't sit around and pout about or be upset about a decision. We have to do what we've always done, which is work. So he's back working, has been back working a month and a half or so, and we'll crank up here. We'll crank up here to sparring, real soon as well. He has had a few sparring sessions, but no, staying motivated is just who you are. That's if you're a motivated person, if you're a person that's got initiative on your own to do things, then whatever it is that you do, whether it's studying or reading or writing or your regular basic everyday things that you do, taking care of your house. If you're a motivated person, nobody has to tell you to get up and do those things. You just do them. So we do them because that's who we are. He's motivated to do things because he's always been self-started to do things. And, of course, when I do see him slacking, I come in, light a little fire and get things going. So I lit a fire, because it was the holidays. I increased the workouts from just once a day to 2 a day. And I increased them from just in the morning workout, which would be about a 10 o'clock workout, and then the afternoon workout would be about a 2:30 workout. I increased that from 10 in the morning, 1 in the morning, and then 1 at 10 o'clock at night. So he go to bed with this on his mind and wake up with it on his mind.
All right, we got Brandon in Cincinnati. Says, how you doing, Mr. Porter? Blessings from Cincinnati, Ohio. I've been interested in getting my 9-year-old son into boxing. He is interested, but his mother wants no parts of him getting in the ring. How did you convince Shawn's mom to be okay with him boxing?
This ain't gonna be easy to do, brother. You got to go to her and say, "Hey, I had to talk with God, and God told me that a man's supposed to raise his sons." And she believed in God, so she kind of let me have them. And so when you're in a relationship and you're married or you're with the woman and you got to make decisions based on what makes her happy, that can become a problem. I do even remember a point when they were boxing when they were really young that my other son, Kenny, said that his mother told him God didn't want him hitting people. And we had to actually go find some things in the Bible that spoke of fighting, which, and there's a place in the Bible where they speak of fighting the good fight. So there's always that situation you got when you got a mother that loves her child and they don't want to see him get hit. And I fully understand that. So, because I approached it a totally different way, my way was to have total custody of my boys. I had more say-so in the things they were allowed to do. She just kind of, she kind of supported it from the distance. She comes to the fights now, but she's not really, she's not big on the fights or anything like that. She's just coming because that's her son. She's not big in the sport. So you gotta, try to work things out with your significant other that, meet each other halfway on some things. Maybe try some different sports and not all of it being just boxing, because of course, kids can excel at other things. So when you have them doing other things that kind of maybe get the wife involved with that or the girlfriend involved with that, the other sports like, going to the basketball game and trading that off with going to a football game, and then, now he's going to box a little bit. We need you to come to the boxing match or come to the gym.
All right, we got Lids Low in Decatur, Georgia. What's up, Mr. Porter? Hope all is well with you and yours. My question is, if you had your choice to pick your next opponent for your son, who would it be and why?
I run it back with Errol because it was a great fight, because, it was great energy in the arena that night, because that's who we are. We want those rematches, but somebody told me the other night, it was a writer for ESPN, and I was having dinner with him, and he said, you know, Mr. Porter, Shawn Porter is like skydiving. He said, you guys skydive, right? I said, yeah, we've jumped about 4 times. He said, no, most people won't do that. He said, Shawn Porter's like skydiving. When you get up there in that plane and you realize that it's a perfectly good plane and there's nothing wrong with it, and somebody's asking you to jump out of it, and they push you out and you jump, when you land and you safe, you say, that's it, never doing that again. So Shawn Porter's like skydiving. Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Kell Brook, you never heard any of them guys ever say, I want to fight Shawn Porter again. He's like skydiving. Once they make it to the ground and they're safe, that's it. They don't ever want to do it again. But if I can have what I want, we definitely will want Errol again. I mean, the place sold out. The pay-per-view numbers were good. Run It Back is a great fight. I think it's still fight of the year right now. Other than that, of course, we would love to have a fight with Manny Pacquiao. You know, you telling me that his name's being mentioned a little bit by his, Manny's manager. You know, we're not hard to find. It's an easy call to make. I would love it. That's a great fight for us. We have the back history. Shawn's only been sparring partner for one pro fighter in his professional career, and that was Manny. He was Manny's sparring partner when Manny fought Sugar Shane Mosley, and when Manny fought Miguel Cotto. He was Manny's chief sparring partner both times. So he was only 21 at the time, 21, 22 years of age, and, you know, the sparring partner moves on to become a 2-time world champion and challenge this guy for his title. That'd be great.
All right, we got CYP in Los Angeles, California. The dynamic you have with Coach Larry Wade is superb and perfect. Superb and the perfect example of brothers being positive for a common goal. Keep setting great examples together. So no question, just showing love. We got Rue in the 504 says, will Shawn demand a rematch with Spence or demand a fight with anyone? Can we get a call out?
You know, who's that and where they from?
Rue in the 504.
Rue in the 504. Where's the 504?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a quick Google for you. South somewhere, right? 504 area
All right,
code.
well, Rue, I appreciate the motivation. I'm going to talk to Shawn Porter today and say, listen, Rue from the 504 said we need to call somebody out. And I think it's a great idea, Shawn. Not a good idea. I think it's a great idea. And I think you should demand that somebody give you a fight in 2020 of major significance in, let's say, March, April, whatever date that is. We can be ready for that by that time. We don't have any injuries from our last fight, so we're healthy and we just need to get past these holidays. But after these holidays are over, which we got still got Christmas coming up, but we'll be working today and working all the way up into Christmas and right behind that and going into the new year. And whoever that was that took notice is Larry and Wade and myself. I appreciate that because, you have this information and you pass it along to these kids and you hope that they use it and that they pass it along to somebody. And the information that I've passed on to Larry has taken that and he's run with it on to world championships with, Caleb Plant and Radu Jack. And then here he was just in a world championship fight with Luis Ortiz. So he's doing the right things with the information that I give him. And when he's successful, I'm successful. So I appreciate somebody taking notice of that.
And 504 is New Orleans.
Oh, that's hot. I'm headed that way in 2 weeks to the Olympic trials with the young man, Siobhan Davis, at light heavy. We're actually going to be in Lake Charles for those Olympic trials.
All right, we got Jordan Baker in Florida. I believe it's like Fort Worth, maybe. No, not Fort Worth. Wrong Fort. Wherever, Fort Myers, that's it is. With your son's style, he takes a lot of big shots to the head. Have you ever considered throwing in the towel? If so, what fight?
You funny. Whoever that is.
Jordan.
It's boxing, baby. When you get up to this level, everybody getting hit. Ain't nobody not getting hit. Floyd wasn't getting hit, but it's just most guys are gonna get hit when it gets up to this level. There's no point. There's no point you see my kid getting beat up that I felt like I needed to throw a towel in. I need you to tell me what fight that was, but I don't remember that fight. Hasn't happened. Anything somebody's bringing to him, he's turning right back and bringing it back to them. So, take the Errol Spence fight, for example. When he did get caught with the punch that he got caught with, he didn't get off his feet. He didn't hit the flow. He didn't hit the canvas. He banged his gloves together, and he said, let's go. And that's who he is. So, What was I supposed to do in that situation? Stop somebody that's ready to go and prepared to fight? He was prepared. We did everything that we could do going into the fight. But when you get to these levels, ain't nobody getting through these fights without getting hit. As Errol Spence, did he get hit that night? He got hit a lot. So nobody gets through these fights at this point without getting hit. And I don't know what round it was. You tell me, Ness. It might have been the second Shawn caught Errol with something good, and the ropes kept him on his feet. I
don't know. I don't know that he's talking about any specific fight. I think he's just asking you, has that ever happened? Has it ever happened, or have you ever felt that way?
No, I'm saying when you get to these levels, and no, I have not. But when you get to these levels, nobody can get through these fights without getting hit. It's just, you're gonna get hit. When you're at these levels, when everybody gets up here, at that world championship level, it's no longer a guy can just get in here and cruise or blow a guy out like he did early in his career. You go through those early points in Shawn's career when he was 9-0 with 9 knockouts, or had 11 fights in the first year. But we had MySpace. We didn't have the websites that we have. We didn't have Facebook and Instagram back then. We had MySpace, so nobody knew about that when Shawn pulled that off. That's just a part of the timing. But no, there's never been a point for that. If that ever happens, it would definitely be something that I look at, which is best for Shawn, not what's best for me in that situation.
Does beating Sergey Kovalev make Canelo the pound for pound number one?
How you gonna switch the whole flow? You know how long we gonna be on pound for pound?
I mean, I was just asking one question, man. I do apologize. Go ahead, Ness.
Nah, go ahead. Isn't Canelo pound for beating up Kovalev like that?
I think Canelo's pound for pound before that, no doubt.
Thank you.
He was definitely pound for pound before that. He's pound for pound one of the best fighters in boxing, period. I think.
Is he the best fighter in boxing?
Now he pushing the goalpost back. You see him, Ken? Ken? He ain't get the answer he wanted, so now he want to push it back.
No, I'm not pushing it back. I'm asking, does beating Kovalev make him number one overall pound for pound? That was my question. Not is he on the list. Of course he's on the list.
Hey, Ken, before you answer that, let me just give you some backstory, because I know you're busy with your own life, your son's career. You don't necessarily know the history of every single fighter. Canelo started his career at 140.
Right. He sure did, didn't he? Because at some point early in his career, I saw him fight Cotto's brother.
Jose Miguel Cotto.
It was here in Vegas. It might have been in the low. I was at the fight. It might have been in the low 40s. And he was getting his butt kicked. Wow. He's come a long way. He's definitely pound for pound. I guess I need to put my own little pound for pound list together, and the only way I can do that is to get some education on who's doing what and who's where and who just beat who and so on and so forth. But that guy is definitely in the top 5 guys for me, And how do you determine a pound for pound? Do you determine them by, he can't be better than this guy because of his weight class? Or is it determined by the opponents? Or is it determined by the record itself? I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it.
There's a big argument there.
Who officially makes that determination of the descriptions that you use to make a pound for pound fighter?
I think
I heard. I don't even know it's true. Tell me now, Ness. I don't even know it's true. I heard, and I'll tell you the source that told me. I heard Shawn Porter was on the pound for pound list.
I mean, I could see that.
Is that true?
He's on.
No, is it true? Is there some out there?
I'll find it. Let me see.
He's on Max Kellerman's pound for pound list.
Oh, okay. Now, I'm going to tell you who told me. Shawn Porter told me, he said, hey, I'm on the pound for pound list. I said, what does that mean? Honestly, what does that mean?
I mean, it's a list that once you get there, the pundits, the experts, the fans believe no matter what weight you were in, if everything was equal and Shawn was a heavyweight, he would beat Wilder. He would beat, if you're number one, then that, if not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like that's how they do it. Like pound for pound is a mythical list that if everyone was on the same weight, how would they compete against each other?
But if that's true, wouldn't Wilder knock out everybody in every weight class?
That's what I've been saying.
That's why they love to exclude. No. That's why they love to exclude heavyweights or simply just put them on the lower half with very weak reasons. Like Marquez, put Wilder at, I believe, number 10 and said it's because he's only faced 2 top-level opposition, but then he put Ruiz around number 6 because he upset Anthony Joshua, and he had Canelo at number 3. Number 1 was Terrence Crawford. And that's where everybody, changes the. So for Canelo, they say, well, he's number whatever based on his level of opposition. And Vasil is number whatever based on the guys he's fought in 15 fights. But then when it comes to Crawford, it's like eye test. It's not about opposition. So, it's one of those lists that are subjective, I guess.
It's opinions, just like boxing with opinions.
Yes.
So everybody's got an opinion on who they saw won a fight last night, if it's not a knockout, right? Then everybody gets to make an opinion on who they want to put in their pound-for-pound list, right? And then, unlike the NFL or NBA or Major League Baseball, the ranking system is based on who's winning and losing, and that's where they're putting them. But in boxing, the ranking system is based on popularity and no losses at all. So, opinions. Again, it's opinions. And the same opinions are the ones that make the decision on who's going to fight who and where they're going to fight at and what networks they're going to fight on. Come on, man.
Whenever you decide to put your pound for pound list together and you want to debut it, we would love to have you back on the show and do it live.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to probably have to confer with my man Ness on that, get some information from him, and then confer, and then go back and look at some stuff. I mean, criteria is, because, again, Ness, you use the word mythical.
Yeah, because can't nobody be mythical at every division. That's why.
Right, but if it's mythical, then the criteria has got to be in a gray area as well.
Yeah, that's why Crawford's in there with the level of opposition he has.
So, Ness, can you give me yours? I'd just be interested in hearing it.
I don't have one, man. I don't believe in those lists because of that, because they're so subjective. It goes according to what you like, who likes who. I just like to, troll people and make sure that I say Canelo's number 1 because I think that it should be based off at least achievements, opposition, the level of fight. Like, I just can't see how you're saying fighter A is skilled while fighter B is fighting top-level opposition, showing you he's skilled. He's showing you versus top-level opposition. It's like Shawn, like you said, how many welterweights have already fought Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Kell Brook, and Earl Spence? None. So we know the level of his skill because he's fought them all. But these other guys like to claim that they're the best or that they're the most skilled, but they're not fighting the best 147-pounders. Shawn Porter is.
I get that. I see what you're saying there, and it makes sense what you just said.
I mean, even Danny, right? Even Danny. I love Danny, but who'd he fight? Robert Guerrero, and he got a vacant belt at 147, and then he didn't fight again until it was for another vacant belt with you. Like, obviously, in between that, he fought Brandon Rios in Granados, 130-pounder and 140-pounder moving up. Now,
He fought Thurman to unify.
you're right. After he won the vacant title from Robert, he unified. And when he lost, he had the two tune-ups with Rios and Granados. But again, not true welterweights. But I get it. Danny, I don't give any shit to because he's another Shawn Porter. He fought everybody, right? Matisse in his prime, Porter in his prime, Thurman in his prime. You know, he's been doing it too.
Aren't we overreacting though? Because Crawford's only been at 147 for like. I know you didn't say Crawford. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying, like in general, he's only been at 147 for like 3 fights. So his pound for pound ranking is based off what he did at 135 and 140 and moving up to 147 and being a champion in his first fight, right?
I mean, Ken is there, man. I mean, I don't know, Ken. Who do you prefer? Whose run at 140 do you prefer? Is Victor Postal or Lamont Peterson when he was at 140?
Peterson fought a lot of good fighters at 40.
Thank you.
Victor Postal didn't quite get over the hump for me.
Thank you.
He got like right there. And
he got a good victory over Lucas Matisse.
A good victory over Lucas Matisse like 2-3 years, maybe 4 years after Danny beat him.
Yeah, but after Matisse wasn't Matisse anymore. You know, which you could actually see that you could see Matisse's decline as well. Who knows? I mean, and this isn't the same weight class, right? But let's take a look at, and I'm just throwing this out here, just for conversation. You remember Dimitri Pirogue, who fought Danny Jacobs?
Yes,
sir.
Never came back after. He never came back after the back injury.
Never came back after what?
After the back injury. He was scheduled to fight Gennady Golovkin in New York City the day that eventually Gregorish Proska fought him in Verona, New York.
Which is what I was about to say. Like, where would that guy potentially have been if he didn't incur a back injury? I think just based on what I've seen him do in the amateur and what I've seen him do to Danny Jacobs, I think he'd have been in the top 5 of, you know, all the weight classes at least. You know, he would have been in the argument, but you know, a guy like Lucas Matisse, who at one time was a very, very tough fighter, he kind of tapered off, and then you could actually see his decline. The same thing with Postal, you could see his decline. You know, there's some guys, and I'm going to use Danny Jacobs, for example. Danny's right there with all of these guys in these championship fights, with all of these guys, and he's doing very well against them, but he's not, you know, he's not getting over the hump against them. But it's a different type of fight that Danny fights compared to the fight that Shawn fights, so you get a different feel for what the public wants or what the public likes, if that makes sense. Does that make any sense?
Yep. I think, Mike, you got
Just
something?
by the way, it looks like to me like Danny won't take that extra step to take that chance with a Golovkin, or that extra step to take that chance with a Canelo. Shawn will take that step and a couple more steps and throw some more punches, and you'll look at that fight differently than you look at Danny losing to those guys.
Mm-hmm. You wanted to slide something in before we go back to the streets? Oops,
goes back to opinions.
Yeah, I want to ask, when is it, or when are we going to have the fighters taking it back to power from the promoters? Like, we say we want this fight and we want that fight, but there's so many hands in between it. Like, when does a fighter say enough is enough? I'm taking the power back. We're going to form something, and we're going to have this so we can have the fights that we want.
I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. And no, let me repeat that. I don't think that's going to happen because the way boxing is set up, the promoters and the networks working together, the business of boxing keeps everybody in a certain lane. Managers, trainers, fighters, they're all in certain lanes. And if you try to cross over into those other lanes, normally they get you put back in there. They may not necessarily get you put back in there in a negative way. They may just allow you to have something else over here that they're showing you in this hand and say, oh, look what we're giving you. But then they take something away from you with the other hand. And then it, kind of works itself out because, the fighter thinks, oh, well, they gave me this. They didn't give me that last time, so I got more than I got last time. Or they gave me more money, or they put my name first on the poster this time, or they put my promotional company on the poster as well this time. So, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that power's going to change positions. It's not going to happen. The only thing we can hope for is that the boxers, at some point in time, like maybe Shawn Porter and Bud Crawford, if you can hear me out there, Bud, maybe those guys decide to make that phone call to each other and decide, you know what? We can negotiate this. We can put this together without anyone else's help. And we can decide on the money. And we can decide on
the manager's good too, though, because Bomac is the trainer manager of Terrence, and you are the trainer manager of Shawn. So necessarily, fighters ain't got it. I mean, you guys could at least start it. You could start it.
The question was asked, when would the boxers be able to do it? It wasn't when managers are still doing that kind of stuff now. Managers are still making, they're making the decisions with the promoters.
Shawn. I called you Shawn. Yeah. I called you Shawn, but that's because that's your son. Ken, but look, I always like to give you like my opinion, and don't you think right now Top Rank is in desperation?
Ness, you went out. Can you repeat that, please?
Sure. I said,
we don't always like to give you the...
I always like to give you my opinion. So what I'm saying is, don't you think the Top Rank right now is in desperation mode when it comes to opponents for Crawford? They got him facing, like you said, Green Machine. After Green Machine, I had Bob on the show earlier this week. He's talking about Regis Prograis, 140-pounder. Josh Taylor, 140-pounder. Jose Ramirez, 140-pounder when he comes back from China. Right now, I think if you put in the call to Bob, Bomac, they will be ecstatic. It would literally be a real pay-per-view. He's had 2 pay-per-views in the past, and it's been with Victor Postal, who you just thought never even got over the hump. So now I'm sure you're scratching your head thinking, why was he ever on pay-per-view? And the second one was with Amir Khan, who we all know last fight was with a featherweight in Billy Dibb somewhere. So, Shawn Porter coming off of the Earl Spence fight, those numbers being what they were, I think Bob is pretty open right now. They need a fighter, and that's another world title shot, like immediate world title shot.
Well, at the risk of pissing anybody off, because even though they say they don't listen, I'm not going to be able to have no discussions about meeting or talking with certain people. I just think that the 2 fighters themselves, if that's their decision, meaning the decision that they said, both of them have been quoted as saying, we're not going to fight each other unless we have conversations to fight. I am still in a certain lane, being a trainer and a manager, and I have to stay in that lane. So, that's where I got to stay at with it.
No doubt. You still got some more time. I got a few more from the people. If not, we can always do it again. I don't want to keep you for too long.
I got time.
Perfect.
And let me apologize to you, Ness, because I don't want you to ever think, I'm not answering your calls. For some reason, you saying you called, and I'm not seeing any missed calls from you. So just keep trying, but I don't know what happened. I looked at my phone, didn't see any missed calls from you.
Maybe.
Oh, I know what it is. You're calling the other number.
Or when
you're calling the other number.
Maybe I'm catching you in the air.
That can happen too. But I lost my other phone about 3 weeks ago and just got mad at myself since I lost it that I wasn't going to go out and buy another new iPhone 25 or whatever the hell they have now. So, whatever. I'm not going to do it. So, I'm like punishing myself. So, anybody that's been calling that number that ain't got me, that's the reason why. So, that's probably when you sent me a screenshot and said, did my number change? No, it didn't, but you had two numbers for me. So, I do apologize for that. I did lose the phone.
All right.
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask, Ness. I'm so sorry. I know you want to get back to the questions.
Nah, go ahead.
We had Rick Glazer on this morning, and he stated that he felt like PBC was a failure.
Well, first, let's get your opinion. Do you know a Rick Glazer? Have you ever heard of this man?
Rick Glazer, I've heard the name of quite a few times. He's a writer, correct?
He says he's he goes by matchmaker and legendary matchmaker promoter.
Oh, so he's not. Okay, then I guess I don't know who he is. I thought he was a writer. So tell me more about Rick.
Well, damn, he's been in the boxing for about 27 years. Read a quick bio on him, said that he had dealings with, it wasn't Joe Frazier, it was some other heavyweight back in the day.
Larry Holmes?
Oh.
Larry Holmes, yes. Now
and Don King. He says he did a lot of business with Don King and Bob Arum.
Now, we had him on, and he said that...
But you know what? That's way... Let me tell you how far back in the days that is. Even though you guys may remember, Larry Holmes fighting at the end of his career. But let me tell you how far back Larry Holmes and Don King type stuff go. When I was a little boy in Cleveland, before I started school, they took me to the gym. And Larry Holmes was sparring and Don King was there. That's how long ago them guys. And Rick, you going way back, brother.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to call him brother just yet.
Go ahead.
He stated that he felt like PBC was failing and that they were possibly going bankrupt. And me and Ness really, was going back and forth with him. I just want to get your reaction to him saying that he felt like PBC was a failure.
We haven't had any problem cashing any checks. Shawn has not mentioned anything to me ever about anything not going through. There's never been a situation like that at all. I've never heard from another fighter, nor have I heard from another trainer, nor have I heard from another manager that they had a problem with their checks. Now, there are promoters in the business of boxing that we have dealt with who have been involved with PBC as well, and those promoters have had situations, but never have I heard or had any problems with anything that goes on in the financing department with PBC. So, if that's any indication of a company that's doing bad business, no, we don't have any bad business stories to tell about them. Only great business stories. When you go back and you look at the history of boxing, and I'll just use Don King for example, with guys that are constantly in lawsuits with promoter Don King and constantly complaining about the shortage of the check coming back different from what they signed the contract for. You've never had that kind of situation going on with PBC or the people that are involved with PBC. So I can only say what I know from my experiences. There's never been any situations like that. There's nothing going on with any bankruptcy. I've never received a letter from anybody or a phone call from anyone there saying, hey, don't put the check in the bank.
When you say maybe promoters, are you insinuating Lou DiBella? Because I have seen a departure from Lou.
I'm not insinuating.
No, I'm just
anything.
saying I don't see Lou doing any more shows, and now his fighters that are paper signed to him are all on UFC Fight Pass. He's not doing any business with PBC or any PBC affiliates from what it looks like to me, and I'm looking.
Are you an investigative reporter as well, Ness?
I mean, I'm trying. I'm trying to turn all the stones. I'm seeing what's underneath the stone you standing on.
We trying to get it all.
But I ain't no snitch, so you can't get me in that.
That ain't got nothing to do with snitching. He's a promoter that you've done business with in Barclays Center. He's the New York City figure for the Barclays Center. He knows how to make sure that arena is filled.
Yeah, I love fighting there, and I love Louis. Never had no problems.
So if not
never
Lou,
had any problems.
If not Lou, who's gonna do Barclays Center? Who do you think can do the same type of job and get the same type of atmosphere? Because Lou has a lot of New York City based fighters. Plus he runs his New York City Broadway boxing series. I mean, I just don't understand why not use a guy that's that skilled. Plus he was a HBO exec before he was a promoter, so he really knows the inside.
Yeah, I remember when he was HBO exec back in like 98, 99, and then he signed a kid out of Ohio to a whole bunch of money, Ricardo Williams. Do you remember him?
Didn't he fight Kendall Holt?
He might have fought Kendall Holt. I don't know. But Ricardo was I think he was a silver medalist in the Olympics, or was he a bronze? He might have been a silver. His biggest rival in the amateurs was Miguel Cotto.
Junior?
And, Ricardo Williams Jr. Yeah. But Lou DiBella was the HBO executive, and then he signed Ricardo, and he signed Jermaine Taylor, and then he left HBO. Started off with those two guys. Of course, Jermaine Taylor, he went on to win world championships, and Rick got in some trouble and didn't make it.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the resume, and biggest name is Carson Jones, and who he lost to by knockout.
Yeah, he got in trouble. He got in some legal trouble, and he didn't make it. Yeah, but he signed that kid to some big money coming out of the amateurs, and that's when he left HBO. But no, got a great relationship with Lou DiBella. Shawn and I both have nothing but great things to say about
remember all those years ago.
Didn't know that Luke wasn't working with us anymore.
Remember all those years ago, I met you at a Broadway boxing Lou DiBella show. You guys were in the back in the cut. It was all dark. I actually like those shows, man. That's a perfect show. You don't need a seat because you can
I was actually sitting in the back with Shawn, and Lou was at another table, and then you were over at the bar with another guy.
Yeah, talking to Buddy
about sparring.
Yeah. The big guy kept talking about sparring, and I was talking to Buddy right there, McGirt. But yeah, all right. So we got another one here. Carlito in the UK says, "No, wait. Did I get to Canna, Mike? Pacquiao question? No? All right. Pacquiao Porter is a good but a tough fight. Like the following, Pacquiao Porter is a good but tough fight. Like that, following a tough fight in the Spence, will Shawn be ready for that in the first quarter of 2020? So that's assuming Pacquiao gives you the shot. Would you take it first quarter, being as though the Spence fight was tough?
Absolutely. And just so you know, not what you thought or what you knew, I gauge my guy by what I see on a day-to-day basis in and out of the ring. He recovered from the Errol Spence fight faster than he recovered from a lot of his previous fights prior to that. A lot of that had to do with the preparation for the fight, how hard he pushed himself. We pushed him. And then also the lifestyle that he lives. He doesn't drink or smoke, doesn't party. And then also his recovery after the fight in March that we had. He did the right things after that fight and continued to keep his body in a fit shape, that when it was time to crank it up for Errol Spence, it was no problem at all. So, we could do that again, not a problem. We don't take no steps back. We're not taking a step back. When it's time for us to take a step back, it'll probably be time for us to leave the sport alone.
All right. Ohio Runs Boxing wants you to know that his pound for pound is Shawn Porter. Ohio's pound for pound list is Shawn Porter number 1, fighter out of Ohio, pound for pound list. Broner, number 2. Robert Easter Jr., number 3. Rasheed Warren, number 4. And the list goes on and on. And obviously, when you were talking Ricardo Williams, he came back and said Ricardo Williams was one of Ohio's best amateurs of all time.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was one of the United States best amateurs of all time, along with another kid by the name of Anthony Hanshaw, who lost to Jermaine Taylor in the Olympic trials, who I trained for the National Golden Gloves, and we fought Jermaine in the finals of the National Golden Gloves in Syracuse, New York in 1999.
Shout out to the 501.
What's that?
Shout out to the 501.
Okay.
I guess that's the area code to wherever you're talking about.
No, that's where Jermaine Taylor from.
Oh.
Little Rock.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yeah. Now, crazy. Jermaine Taylor and a fighter that I had, is actually a cousin, Julian Burford. They fought in the Nationals Golden Gloves semifinals, I want to say in 1996, I think it was. 96. And we beat him. And then Jermaine came back and wins the Olympic trial spot over Anthony Hanshaw, another kid that I was working with at the time. And then Jermaine goes on to become a world champion. And then Jermaine loses to another kid that I had worked with in state, regional, and national tournaments by the name of Kelly Pavlik. And Kelly beats Jermaine Taylor. It's crazy how this little small boxing world, and then those two guys, Kelly Pavlik and Jermaine Taylor, both succumbed to some of the same situations outside of the ring.
All right, we got Carlito in London says, love and blessings from London. Mr. Porter, I wanted to ask you or your son, would you be interested in fighting for a PBC belt if it were ever to be made? There has been rumors of a PBC belt.
Yeah, I hear about these rumors of the PBC belt. I don't know any. I guess it would be the same thing as give me some information on this, the criteria for the franchise, and give me
There's no facts on it.
I think it was Bill Welder
Right,
did an interview with Chris Mannix where he talked about it, the VP from Fox.
Right, give me some information on the criteria for the PBC belt. If you're asking me to fight Manny Pacquiao for the PBC belt, I'm saying yes. If you're asking me to fight Errol Spence for the PBC belt, I say yes. If you want me to fight Joe Blow for some PBC belt, no. But, if you're talking about the big names and getting in there with those guys for any belt, it could be the PBC belt or any other belt. It doesn't matter because we want to fight those guys.
IBO, baby!
I don't know anything about the PBC belt, though, other than the little rumor that I heard. Is there any truth to it? I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Anybody that's actually involved with PBC, no one has spoken to me about that at all. So I think that the belts, the WBC and Shawn, he always wanted that WBC belt. He got a hold to it, defended it once, and then, we had what we had in that situation with Spence. I think the WBC, the WBO, and WBA, and IBF, I think all those guys, they have their parts that they play in boxing. Everybody has their lane that they're in. If you leave it up to me, I don't need to fight for any belt. I just need to fight the guy that we fighting. We don't pay no sanctioning fee, and we go ahead and go down. Let's get it done.
For real. Earthquake, don't know where he's from. Hey, Mr. Porter, much respect to you and Shawn. I personally have his last fight with Spence as my fight of the year. Following the car accident, what's Shawn's 2020 looking like, and who do you have winning between Andy Ruiz and AJ? Shawn, if at any point, oh my God, Shawn, Ken, if at any point you think you've already answered a question, no need to re-answer. But yeah.
Well, let me put some thought to it. So we got Manny Pacquiao. We got possibly Errol Spence, but Errol's out right now with an injury. Keith Thurman is out right now with an injury. We got Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Mikey and Manny Pacquiao. Mikey.
Does Mikey really like
Bud Crawford, Manny Pacquiao, Mikey Garcia. So let's say Manny Pacquiao, Bud Crawford, Mikey Garcia. Those would be the top three in that order. The only reason I put Bud in second of the order is because Manny Pacquiao is with PBC, and that is a fight that can be made.
But why fight Mikey Garcia?
So,
we see Mikey Garcia fight Errol Spence and not win a round.
Why?
Yes, sir. Why? Is it just for the business?
Business.
Okay.
Business. It's business. He's fought on a pay-per-view. Him and Errol Spence did a big draw on a pay-per-view. The networks are going to look at that, and they're going to say that the kid can draw. So that's the business aspects of it. We need a good partner to dance with. Manny Pacquiao and Shawn have a great backstory. Both of the guys they're close to the same height. You know, both of them are tenacious fighters. They're both offensive fighters. It will be a great fight. Terrence Crawford is an undefeated fighter. He's on a mythical pound-for-pound list. I think he's one of the best fighters in the world myself, personally. Styles make fights. The guy goes from righty to lefty to lefty to righty. He's really good at just about everything he does in the boxing ring. Shawn is really good at making guys uncomfortable and making them have to deal with things that they don't normally deal with. I think that's a great style fight. And, of course, to Mikey Garcia, as I said already, from a business standpoint, he's drawn very well on a pay-per-view, and we love to be on a pay-per-view fight again. So those would be my top three fights.
All right.
Excluding the other guys because of their injuries.
And your breakdown of Andy Ruiz versus AJ happening here at December 7th in Saudi Arabia.
Much better fight than the first fight, but I see Andy winning it. And when I say much better, I don't think Andy wins this fight as easily as he won that. Not that it was an easy fight. I think this time when he catches Joshua with a good shot, Joshua's going to be able to come back and mount an offense, whereas in the first fight, he got caught with a couple of shots and he pretty much folded under the pressure of, I think he got hit behind the head or behind the ear or somewhere along in there, and he pretty much folded under that pressure. But I think in this fight, he'll be able to fight his way back once he gets caught with something. He'll be able to fight. But I see Andy winning the fight.
Info Joe in California. What's up, Mr. Porter? Great performance in your last fight with Spence. I was there at the Staples Center. It was a pro. No, wait. I was there at the Staples Center. It was a pro Spence crowd. How did you feel when the crowd switched sides and started to cheer for Shawn?
I never noticed it. Actually, I just didn't notice it. But that's kind of what happens when Shawn is in the ring, no matter where he's fighting at. When people see his energy and see that he's giving everything he can to try to win a fight, and he's the type of person that if you meet him outside of the boxing ring, at the fight or met him at a restaurant, he's very approachable. They gravitate towards that. I guess it kind of comes to, feeling like this is a person that you know.
All right, next one coming from John in Texas. No question here, Ken. Just want to say, hell of a fight. I had Shawn winning or a draw, but either way, hell of a fight, and can't wait for another one from Team Porter. I would love to see Shawn fight Keith again, two of my favorite fighters in the game. God bless.
I would love to fight Keith Thurman again. Like I said before, Shawn is, as the writer said, Shawn is skydiving. So once they jump out that plane and they get on the ground and they're safe, they never want to go up again. Keith doesn't want to fight Shawn again. I know that from personal conversations. I've heard him in his interviews and things like that. He doesn't want to fight Shawn again. I would love to run that one back. I would love to run back the Kell Brook fight. You've never heard Kell Brook ever mention Shawn Porter's name again. I think he did mention, I saw where he predicted that Errol Spence would knock Shawn Porter out. Kell, I'm sorry that didn't happen for you like you would have liked. But we can do that rematch if you want, Kell. We'll even come to 154. We'll come to the UK for that. That's a fight that I would love to have. Got no problem taking that fight, none whatsoever. But there you have it.
Trav FDY says, how close were you to going upside Derrick James' head?
Listen, wow, I wasn't ready for that question. You could have give me a little warning, send me a text message or something. Things get heated in these fights, in these world championship fights. I'm being politically correct right now. And Derrick, did an interview that was just, it crossed the line on every level as far as I'm concerned, and it became personal. So I just went up to Derrick and I let him know, Derrick, this is a boxing. We're preparing for a boxing match. Let's keep it about the boxing. Don't become personal, because if you make it personal, then I have to come personally see you and let you know how I feel about this. And, we worked it out that day. That's the end of it. Him and I have seen each other a number of times since then. We've shaken hands. It's over. That's the end of it. To answer your question, I was very close. I was very close to Derrick that day. Where I was speaking close. I don't close talk with people. If I'm close talking with you, it's only because I don't want the reporters to hear it, and I'm about to get at you. So, that's behind us. I've seen Derrick again, like I said, a number of times. We've shaken hands. That's the past.
All right. We have Tracy who says, Ohio in the house. Porter is my favorite at 147. Relentless. Do you think you will be more vocal about Porter beating Danny and would beat Mikey? Plus, I had him beating Spence to secure that Pac fight. Ready to see him as a champ again.
Yeah, he wants to be a champion again. I want to see him be a champion again. He already told me he wanted to do it again. I'm with that 1,000%. I forgot how much fun I used to have on Ness's shows. And Ness, please invite me back, because I'm having a great time right now. These guys got some good questions. They got some great energy. I appreciate the love coming from you on your thoughts on that fight. We would love to run that back. And I just don't feel that the people that are in position to make those type of decisions, I don't feel that they make those decisions based on what the fans want. They make the decision based on what business wants. So right now we haven't got that call that anything like that could happen for us. But I hope that Shawn gets in position to fight for a title, wins the title, and then we can call out Errol Spence again.
Okay.
All right, we have Brandon Box, and I wonder if this is Brandon from North Carolina. Hello, Porter. First off, I want to say thank you for being a wonderful minority father. We are very scarce nowadays. Thank you so much for showing excellence in that area. But I wanted to ask you, since Shawn has shown in the past that he is able to hang with 160-pound fighters, and he's accomplished so much at 147 level, at 147 level, wouldn't it be great to see him move up to 154 and challenge guys at that level and even have a chance to be unified at that level. If we look at the landscape of 154, everybody he would face at that weight and level, he's already faced that type of fighter and will give all of them at 154 many problems. What is your take on that? And is that a possible? Is it a possibility? Is it a possibility in the future?
It could be a possibility, but because of a Manny Pacquiao, because of a Terrence Bud Crawford, because of a Errol Spence, a Mikey Garcia, it's not going to happen. We got too much work to do down here against great fighters. I'm not saying that these guys are Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, but of this era, those are the guys that we got that we can compare them to have these highly contested, great fights. So we won't be moving anytime soon. If I was to receive a phone call telling me we're going to put you in a world championship fight against a 154-pounder that has the type of name of those guys, maybe, not exactly, but, has a promotable, big promotable name, it would definitely be open for consideration. It would definitely be open for consideration. But because of the other fighters, living legend in Manny Pacquiao, great fight that we just had with Errol Spence, Bud Crawford being an undefeated fighter, moving up to all these different weight classes with his skill level, we need to fight those guys before we move to a 54. Ness, who's there at 54 that you would like to see Shawn Porter fight?
Realistically, Shawn Porter, like you said, there's a lot of business at 47. So I would only move up for Kelbrook because he's really not going to be able to come back down for 47. I mean, the Jaime Munguia belt is vacant, but again, WBO barely ranks PBC fighters, so I doubt you'll be able to, petition for a shot at the vacant WBO Jaime belt. So, I mean, Julian Williams, if you want to be pound for pound and legacy and, legendary step, moving up to fight Julian, who's the unified champ, but I don't know. He's pretty big, but you know him well. You know his trainer. His trainer was, I don't know if this is protege of the bad word. Should I say you're just your assistant? I just don't want to offend anybody. I know he worked with you. I know he worked with you for some time before he got on his own.
No, he worked with us for like one fight, no. Great job on both of their behalf. I'm very, very proud of them. They stand alone. They always did stand alone, did things that way. Julian's always done things that way. I know him from the amateurs. And his trainer, Breadman, has done things that way, his own way, and it's worked out for him, and I applaud them for that. I think he's got big fights coming up, and it would never be no consideration for us to be moving up to fight him when we got, as we've already determined, a Manny Pacquiao. That's a bigger fight for us. Bud Crawford, that's a bigger fight for us. So, no, that's not going to happen. And like you said, we're not ranked with the WBO. I don't think we're ranked with the WBO in 147 at all. If they are, I don't know. But, that's a big fight for those guys up there on that level. You got the Charlos, you got him, and he lost to a Charlo brother, and of course, those guys are also looking at fighting Demetrius Andrade. So they're moving up to their weight classes, and we're still dealing with what we got down here.
Nah, man. Like I said, a 54 move has to be strategic. It can't just be.
Yeah, it has to be right. No.
But we got 7 that says, my nephew is a huge Shawn Porter fan, so I'm going to let him ask this question. He wanted to ask, do you think the low blows affected Shawn's performance and the outcome of the Errol Spence fight?
How old is your nephew, and how did he peep that out? Let me tell you about that real quick. Let's go ahead and get some info out there, Ness. That was Errol's strategy. Errol's strategy was to hit Shawn low. There's no way in hell you can tell me that a guy who's an accurate puncher, who throws straight punches and knows exactly where he's shooting his shots at. He's a sharpshooter. Errol is a sharpshooter. Knows exactly where he's throwing his punches. Doesn't know that he's throwing low blows. There's no way in hell you can tell me that. And not only that, but I asked the referee on more than one occasion, hey, man, do something about the low blows. And then it got to the point where I said to the ref, you got to help me with the low blows. And I'll tell Jack to his face. And he heard me say this. And I said, Jack, you got to help me with the low blows. And Jack looked at me and said, Shawn's wearing his shorts high. There's nothing I can do about it. I said, this is such bullshit. I pulled Shawn's shorts down right in front of Jack. And Jack continued to ignore the low blows. So, yes, it did hurt Shawn. It hurt Shawn in a lot of ways, and Shawn didn't complain during the fight. He pointed, I think, once to a low blow that Errol threw at Shawn, and at the same time, he's pointing, Errol threw another shot at him, and Jack didn't do shit about that either. And I'll tell Jack to his face, and I can't wait to see Jack and tell him to his face. And here's the reason why I'm very aggressive about that particular situation as the question was just presented to me. I've taken it to another level with my heat right now. Here's the reason why. My kid gets hurt from low blows. Now my kid is susceptible to getting hurt from a headshot because he can't protect himself. And we have a situation just a few weeks later where a young man dies in the ring. And the only thing I got to say to Jack is, Jack, you need to make sure that you're protecting these fighters at all times. Don't you ever look at me again and say you can't protect the fighter, because me and you going to fight in the ring. Because that's some total bullshit that guy told me that night in the ring. So, yes, that was Errol's strategy. It worked. It helped him out a lot, because without those low blows, we got a different fight, because it did slow Shawn down, and it showed him down to the point where I'm talking to him in the corner. I asked him what's wrong, and he's like, nothing, let's go. And I knew something was wrong with him, and I kept pushing it, like, come on, man, tell me what's going on. And we didn't want to make no big thing about it where, because I'm mic'd up. I didn't want to make a big thing about it in the corner where anybody hears it. So I'm asking Shawn what's going on, and then he finally goes in and admits. He said, I'm numb down there. I can't feel anything. That is Jack Reese's job, to protect my fighter. So I tell him to his face, and I can't wait to see his ass again and tell him to his face.
Hey, Ken, can you educate us? Do you have to pay each sanctioning body to be ranked, or do you only pay when it's time to have some sort of title eliminator or, some sort of belt on the line? Because I'm looking at the rankings, and they don't have Shawn Porter in the top 15 of the WBO. He's ranked number 10 after just attempting to unify with their champion. They only have him ranked number 10 in the IBF. He's number 1 in the WBC, and he's not in the WBA. So is it a question of him having to pay everybody to be ranked, or do they just have to rank? How's that work?
You said it, brother. What's understood don't have to be explained. Please tell me how Shawn was the IBF champion,
and he got dropped out the top 15.
He lost his title to Kell Brook, and he got dropped out of the top 25. And we just gave your fighter a hell of a run. And by the way, that was IBF judges that gave Errol Spence that fight, and only gave Shawn 4 rounds, which is no way in hell that was a fight where Shawn only won 4 rounds in it. But, that's what goes on. So what's understood doesn't have to be explained. Yes, somebody needs a check in order to be ranked, and somebody needs to have a relationship, and that's the way this thing works. So that's just the business, again, and we have to deal with it.
That's so strange, because Danny's ranked in the WBO. So, I mean, that means that he has intentions on fighting Crawford? Like, I mean, why be ranked in the WBO if you're not going to do business with Bob? And he's highly ranked. He's number 3. Like, any minute now, he could be mandatory for Crawford.
Any minute, huh? Well, just make sure you tell him to fight Shawn for this interim WBC belt. Pass that one along to him. It doesn't seem like he got no interest after he done jumped out of that plane or getting up in there again.
Well, our last question from the people comes from Florida. Joaquin Crespo says, how does it feel to see so many of the young fighters you once trained now successful and living out their dreams? Thanks for your time.
You know, it's great. I mean, and you know, it's pretty funny that, you know, a guy like Errol Spence is a guy that I work with throughout the amateurs, in the nationals, internationals, at the Olympic Training Center, world championships in Azerbaijan, also was his head coach in Ukraine and his head coach in Russia. And then we wind up fighting each other. And then also, you know, I go way back with the Charlo brothers. I had those guys at Northern Michigan University when they were 14 years old. So on so many levels, to see these guys do the things that they do, you know, it feels really good because so many are called, only a few are chosen. And I've trained hundreds and thousands of guys, and they didn't make it. And they were very talented, but it takes more than talent. So it does feel really good when you see, you know, the Charlo brothers, 2 kids that I had when they were 14 years of age. And I start calling that kid Iron Man when he was 14, and he's still using that name today. You know, I got other guys that I trained when they were 8 and 9 years old who have gone on to get college degrees, and they're young pros now, only 5-0, 6-0, but the way the world turns and goes back around, one of them is now a teacher where my 8-year-old niece goes to school, and she did the FaceTime with me, and she says, Uncle Kenny, do you know him? He says he used to box for you, and now he's a teacher there, and he used to box for me when he was a young kid. So, yeah, it feels good because they're successful, you know, and they stay with it. It makes me feel successful as well.
Mike, anything else you got before we wrap it up? Well, Mr. Porter, that is everything. I do want to thank you, obviously, for your time. Always a pleasure. Would love to continue to do it on a regular basis like back in the day. And if you want to give out any social media, do so at this time. Once again, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you guys, man. Please invite me back. Yeah, Porter High Performance with a HY on the Instagram. The only thing I post up there is usually Shawn workouts, that kind of thing, Porter High Performance. And then everything else, you can probably reach us at Shawn Showtime, Shawn P on the Instagram, the Facebook, and the Twitter. And Ness, I appreciate it, man. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Having a great day, and can't wait to do it again. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Ken Porter, world-renowned trainer, father, manager, overall official tissue. You know what I mean? So, great interview. Hopefully you guys got a lot from that. We have a few callers. I'll go ahead and open up these phone lines. Get to it. Mike, any final thoughts?
Yeah, man. Smash that thumbs up button, man. Smash it.
Smashity smash.
Remember to rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
These calls are brought to you by El Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
Mr. PBC, baby.
BoxingVoice.com.
I'm the flyest. Canelo talking about he believe he can win. Go to my kitchen, get the sharpest knife, and cut the bullshit out. I don't care what you do good. I do every fucking thing great. Mr. PBC, baby.
Yo, what's good, Mike and Ness?
What up, Dom?
What up, Dom?
What's good, man? Man, I loved my question towards Porter because I know Porter knows in his hearts of hearts they will destroy Bud Crawford. I'm not really talking mess to nobody on the show. I just think Porter, well, that would be a good fight for Porter to get right back in there. Maybe get a Pacquiao fight after that. You know, you beat someone that's up and coming, that supposedly pound for pound. That'd be a beautiful fight. I mean, if they best friends, I mean, Deontay fought his best friend, and that leveled him up. You know, I think it was Malik Scott or something like that. And I think that should happen 100%. I mean, it's perfectly lined up. There's Porter was talking about his next opponent is Green Machine. No one damn well is Mean Machine. I think it'll be a great fight.
It is Green Machine.
And, I thought it was Mean Machine.
Oh, I thought it was Green Machine. Huh?
Nah, he misspelled it. It's Mean Machine. Everybody knows that.
Be a Green Machine.
Ain't that right, Mike?
That's what Porter said. I heard him say Green Machine.
Out of order machine.
Say Green Machine. But Mike, what do you think about Porter versus Bud Crawford?
You can ask me this question. My answer ain't gonna change. I want to see the fight. If that's the fight to be made, let it be.
Who do you think win?
You know who we think win, man. Chill, Dom. It don't matter if it's an inch or a mile. A race is a race, man.
Yeah, we got some super chats that I want to get to. The one to give it to you says, "Who the eat steak when cutting weight?"
Yo, what you mean, bro? Protein is good for the muscle.
Then we got one from Jonathan Sims. He says, Bo Mack was on TBV, and he seems willing to fight anyone. Are you open to calling him out and making Porter versus Bud, despite we are bored statement? Yo, Jonathan, my man.
Patreon, champ.
If you want that question asked, McDowell, let's tell him how to do it again.
Go to patreon.com. Listen, that $5, you would have been asking questions for the whole month. The whole month. All them interviews we had, you'd have been able to drop your question for everyone. We appreciate the $5 on the super chat. We really do. But if you want to get value, you want to get bang for your buck, you want to ask every interview guest that I can remember, right? Because sometimes these guests, I schedule them on the fly. Like, yo, I got hell. I'm waiting to see is Mike gonna answer them. I got like 7 people waiting for replies. That I ain't even. I'm like, man, it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I seen the little thing.
I left them all. I left them all on red. I felt like Nikki.
Oh, you left them on red? You open them?
Nah, I'm wrong. So see, I'm old head, so I can't even use her shit. Left them on red. Mean I looked at them. I'm an old head. See, I'm fucking up.
You can't even say it on air. They could be listening right now.
Nah, I didn't read it. I left it blue with the little dot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We got one from Ohio Run. But Jonathan, man, get on Patreon, big dog. $5 a month, man. You can get you nigga questions to Wilder, to motherfucking Rick Glazer, Cam Porter,
everybody, because it's gonna be a guest every day, if not 2, 3. Like I had
Bill Haney. I mean, everybody, man. Anybody.
Everybody and anybody.
Ohio Run Boxing says Shawn Porter is the #1 fighter out of Ohio, pound for pound list. Broner is number 2, Robert Easter number 3, Rashid Oren number 4, and the list goes on. Ohio. Hey man.
Yeah.
Broner number 2.
I mean, out of the Ohio pound for pound, he's not saying worldwide. He's saying in Ohio.
Ohio right now better than Broner.
Who?
I don't know.
You wildin', yo. You really disrespecting Broner. I mean, out of.
Don't you gotta win to be on the list, my nigga?
You so disrespectful.
I like Broner, man. Good character. But
it don't sound like it.
He ain't be winning. I'm American, nigga. We like winners. Kaz, y'all had a paid troll on the show this morning. And everybody got their opinion, Kaz. And we got Ohio Runs Boxing. Ricardo Williams was one of Ohio's best amateurs of all time, which Ness stated.
Mr. Info Joe.
Tell them the truth, yo. Tell them the truth.
This portion of the show we call In the
Mr.
Know,
Info Joe.
presented by my brother.
Tell them the truth, yo. Tell them the truth.
Yo, you know it ain't no show without Info Joe in the building. What up, my boxing brothers, Ness and Mike?
What up, big dog?
Joe, what up?
Hey, hope everybody listening, man, had a great Thanksgiving, man. I sure did. I ate so much I had heartburn last night. But, yo, great interview. shout out to the Porters. I would love to see the Terrence Crawford fight next. If not, I wouldn't even mind the Mayweather fight. You see how Madonna roughed up Mayweather, so you can only imagine what Porter would do. But him, Pacquiao, man, the doors is open for Porter, man. He had a great performance. I thought the last fight was a draw. Yo, on this morning's topics, was that a rumor about the 250,000 pay-per-views for Wilder?
Yeah.
Hey, if it was true, I do believe you got to have the right dance partner, man, to sell a
Nah, it
pay-per-view.
wasn't true, though. It wasn't true. We debunked it. The person we had on the show said he never said that.
Okay. Great. I predicted about at least 350 to 400, man. But Ortiz, man, don't speak no English, man. You do need the right dance partner to sell a pay-per-view fight. But that's all I got. Hit those thumbs up. Those, like my man Stanley say, you must be stupid if you don't join Patreon to get your questions answered. Hit those thumbs up. Join Patreon. You're listening to the voice of the people. There is no equal. Peace, family.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for calling in. We're going out to Rue in the 504. Talk to me.
What up, Rue?
Yeah, what's going on, fellas?
Yeah,
what up?
On your ass. Boy.
Once again, that was a... Huh?
I said Cam Porter damn near snapped on your ass. Who is that? Where you from? Where's he from?
I was like, who is... I love it. But I mean, it's just wish more fighters did that. I mean, go get a fight. Just call someone out. I mean, I guess that might not be his personality style or whatever, but I mean whatever. But he's such a great fighter. I just wish more guys did that nowadays. Just be the Clubber Lang. Just crash a press conference every now and then. Get in the ring after a fight. Just make it interesting. But that's it. That's my call.
All right. Well, Rue, thanks for calling in. We're going out to Ohio Runs Boxing. You got to unmute, champ. There you go. Even though you're breaking up.
Baby, what's up? Oh, snap. Must be nervous. Can you hear me?
Calling on Skype.
You breaking. You sound bad.
Okay.
90 seconds.
You better get in for Blog Talk, shut down.
You hear it?
I mean, go ahead. You might as well talk.
Oh, yeah. Rick Gassner, whatever his name is, man. He was friends with me on Facebook. He added me as friends. He's manager. He was supposed to be a writer for Top Rate, but he doesn't like PBC.
Man, this call would be so much better if you had some good internet right
now,
bro.
60 seconds.
I feel like you about to give Rick all the smoke, but right now he can't.
That ain't
none of it.
work. That ain't work.
Like your matches got wet or something. You know what I'm saying?
Hang up, call right back, baby. Hang up, call right back. Let's see.
Go buy some new matches. Who got him next? Oh, damn.
Well, we got Boomerang for Dominic.
What up? CYP ain't called in?
Nah, no CYP.
Oh, CYP, but y'all ran him away.
Yo, what's good?
What up?
Yeah, I mean, I like Shawn Porter's dad. He keeps it 100. He's like on his side, but let's be real. When that fight where Errol Spence, the low blows, I know Errol Spence do a little bit more. But to me, Shawn Porter did a little bit too. Like, in case you kind of have to practice what you preach, and just know that they both came to fight like a dog. You can't come to Shawn Porter unless you're going to fight on the back foot without dominating him. So I feel like Errol Spence came to fight like a dog. He fought like him. Just like Floyd did Maidana and Ortiz or. It's not Ortiz, but I think his name is, I forgot. But I like his call. I mean, when he came in and did the interview, he's cool peoples. You guys had him on the show like 4 times already, maybe 5. He respects TBV, and I don't see him calling on any other show. And that's my call, TBV for life.
Dominic, Seattle, thanks for calling in. We're going to go back out to Ohio Runs Boxing. Talk to me.
What up, Ohio?
Can y'all hear me? And how do I sound now?
I mean, better than before. Let's see if you make it through the call. Says poor
All right, but no,
connection,
man,
though.
Rick Grass. It says what?
Poor connection, but just get through it. Rick Glazier.
But no, yeah, man. Yeah, he got me in the right, man. No, I didn't know him. He's trying to use source. He want to have all these sources, all that stuff, man. He talked about PBC consistently bad about him. He's supposed to be a top ranked rider, man. Anything he says, he got a lot of trolls and a lot of people that worship. He gets 100 likes within minutes of status on Facebook. It's crazy. But he talks about him, and then some fights.
Man, I just wanted him to realize, bro.
I don't know. Maybe he's driving. Maybe he's driving.
I'm trying to feel it, bro. I just can't. I can't hear him.
He's driving. He's driving, man. He's driving. You gotta. He's probably a driver right now.
Like Siri attacked him or some shit.
All right, T Plums, Florida.
What up, T Plums?
What's good, fellas? So, I ain't gonna flex. I really missed the whole Shawn Porter interview. But I didn't get it. I mean, Cam Porter, my bad.
Keep calling this nigga Shawn, man.
Because, you know, when a lot of times.
He had Shawn.
Look, man. I misspoke. My bad. But I do want to say a little something about this morning. The dude that y'all, what's his name? Glacier dude? I ain't gonna flex. I really missed the whole Shawn Porter interview. Yeah, that dude, he a liar, bro. Like, he all the time put out a whole bunch of blanket statements that are wrong, and he came on y'all show basically to push ESPN Plus, but you know he a liar straight up, and all the trolls that be on your page that be saying all types of weird stuff. I ain't gonna flex. They make it hard to stay in the chat because they just be going ham, and it's I don't understand how y'all ignore it. Y'all better than me, but yeah, man, y'all just keep doing what y'all doing. Appreciate it. That's it.
Man, how y'all let these cyber niggas with no emojis, no avatars,
nothing,
get to y'all under y'all skin like this, bro? I see shit all the time in this chat, nigga talking about me. That shit don't make me feel any less or any more enthusiastic about myself or about this show. So these niggas in the chat ain't gonna. It's just crazy, bro. We live in an age where people read shit on the internet and they let it affect them. These motherfuckers do not know you on a day-to-day basis. They don't know you. They know you when the show comes on. So they're going to say outlandish shit because they're having a bad day or their lives are fucking horrible. Let them be. It's always going to be some people you don't like, some people you like, and some people you really don't give a fuck about. Let them people be in the chat and have fun.
We got Tony P.
Yo, what's good, fellas?
What up, Tony P?
Yo, I got two questions. Number one, why did y'all even have Rick Glasser on the show? He really like a clown. Like, it's pretty well known as far as I know.
Because the rumor that everyone is running with saying that though that was the amount of pay-per-views originated from him. They were saying it was him. So we had him on.
So y'all just cross-checked. Y'all cross-checked. I respect that. I mean, it's a silly number. Like, think about it. Just between movie theaters and bars in the United States, that number is not even possible. It's a dumb number. That dude's a clown, man. But my second question, what happened to that deep voice dude from the UK that was always riding with Joshua? He just, when Ruiz beat him, he just disappeared?
Nah, he quit before that, I think.
Talking about Khan?
I forget dude's name. He was a clown low-key, but I just wanted to see where, where his temperature was at since Joshua lost.
No.
Hey, you talking about Robbie?
Robbie?
Nah. The deep voice dude that talked like Darth Vader, some shit like that from the UK.
Oh, Ralphie.
Oh, Ralphie.
Yeah. Ralphie.
Oh, yes. You talking about that dude?
Yeah, that cat. Where he at?
Oh, he disappeared, man. He just came back today on that Wilder pay-per-view show because it was him. He was there to hate. But he been gone, man. He been decapitated like AJ, man. You know how it go.
That man in hibernation, man. But keep doing y'all thing, man. That's it, man. Take care.
For sure, man. Thanks for calling in. We going out to sleep time. Mike is over. And that's GTO, Instagram, and Twitter. Catch us on the next one. You never know when that's going to be, so you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you get that notification bell. If you want to ask questions for any of our guests, remember, you got to head on over to patreon.com/The Boxing Voice. Subscribe to Patreon, and that's how you get to ask your question, all that goodness. Plus, I do Monday edition of Untitled, and we did a betting show Friday. We did a betting show, so you could have made some money. Wilder got him out of the second half, and the money was good. It was plus 205. I recommended the second half, but I was strongly recommended 1 through 6. I ain't going front, but I made it clear. That if you wanted the back half, it was there to be taken with better odds. But yeah, man, that's GGO, Instagram, and Twitter, Mike.
Follow me on IG at Gross1911 or on Twitter at Gross2312 and catch me in about 30 minutes on Mike on Sports. Gonna do an NFL recap from all the Thanksgiving games. Peace out.
Peace.